days. And you imagine you learn 20 new words a day. That's a lot of words. How brilliant would your vocabulary be if that was the case? And how great would your reading skills be and your overall general level of English be? And you can start with just 5 minutes a day. But if you watch this video and you do nothing, nothing will change. So please don't be one of those students that watches a video like this and is like, oh, this is amazing, I'm going to do it, and then you don't do it. And then time creeps on and then you fail your test over and over and over again. Because you have a choice. You can spend time on this, or you can spend time failing the test. You don't have a choice. That's your choice. Spend time doing something that will lead to a great IELTS score, or spend time wasting time and then failing the test over and over and over again. So to talk about mindset a little bit, many of you will be like, why is he not giving us tips? And that vocabulary improvement plan, that's going to take ages. Okay, so that vocabulary improvement plan, if you are thinking that's going to take a really long time, your mindset is wrong. You're going to fail over and over and over again. But if you're like, oh, I only need to do that for like 10, 20, 30 minutes a day, I should get going now and I should make it a habit and schedule it every day, and in time I'll really improve, then you're going to get the score you need. There's no other way of doing it. So that's everything you need to know about how to improve your vocabulary and a little bit about mindset. So in lesson 2, what we're going to do is we're going to look at reading skills. So we're going to look at skimming, scanning, and close reading. Many of you might not have even heard of this one. And we're going to look at the real problem, the real reason why people don't develop their skills, why people don't use these skills effectively on test day, don't practice properly. We're going to look at all of that in lesson 2. So make sure you tune in for lesson 2, and I'll see you then. Hopefully you find this lesson useful and get going with your vocabulary improvement plan. Hello there, and welcome to lesson 2 of our IELTS reading course. So if you watched lesson 1, well done. If you haven't watched lesson 1, please go back and watch it. There's some really essential information in there that you need in order to improve your IELTS reading scores to a 7 or above. So what are we going to do today? So we're going to look at reading skills mostly. We're going to look at scanning and skimming like every course does, but we're going to look at them in a lot more detail and think about what they actually are and how to use them. Because one of the main problems is students talk about skimming and scanning. A lot of teachers talk about skimming and scanning without really knowing what they are and how to use them. We're also going to look at close reading, which is another skill in itself, as well as a couple of other reading skills that most students just aren't aware of or don't talk about or don't know about. And we're going to talk about the real problem, the real reason why you are struggling with reading skills. And we're also going to give you a couple of exercises that you can do at home to help you improve your reading skills. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to find out what these are. What are these skills? How do we use them? So a very good analogy is Google Maps. So bear with me. This will all make sense in a second. So I'm here, I'm in Northern Ireland, and I need to answer this question. How many angels are there outside Rockefeller Center in Manhattan, in New York? So imagine this is kind of like a reading question, and we're going to be using the same skills to answer this question as you would during your reading test. But we're not going to be reading a text, we're going to be looking at a map. So to answer this question, I'm in Ireland here, and I know that Rockefeller Center is in New York City. So what would I do in order to find this quickly and efficiently and effectively? Would I go into every single country in Europe or Africa and South America and try and find it there? No, I would scan for the United States really, really quickly, and I would find it there. So using that scanning skill has helped me find it, the location of it really, really quickly. But have I found the correct answer? No, I haven't found the correct answer yet. So what I need to do is look at things in a little bit more detail. So look for New York. So scanning again, New York. Okay, so let's click on that one. Let's go into here. So New York is divided into 5 boroughs. We have Staten Island, we have Queens, where my sister lives, we have Brooklyn, and we have the Bronx and Manhattan. So by skimming this, by looking at it quickly, I can understand that yes, I'm in the right area. I know where I am. I know I'm in New York. I'm in the right place. So by just looking at it quickly, by skimming it, I'm kind of orientating myself and I know exactly what's going on. But I need to scan again, so switching skills, to find Manhattan, where Rockefeller Center is. So if we go into Manhattan, so Manhattan's like a big, long island, and I need to find Rockefeller Center. It is a landmark, so it will probably be one of these things that is highlighted. So what are we going to do? We're going to scan again. Hopefully it comes up, Rockefeller Center. Okay, so we did a little bit of scanning, a little bit of skimming to help us find it, and then scanning again. But has that allowed us to find the correct answer? Well, this kind of looks like an angel. So could we look quickly at it and then get the score or get the correct answer? No, we wouldn't be looking at it in enough detail. Now we need to look at it in detail, no skimming, no scanning, looking at it in detail to find the correct answer. So let's have a look again. So there's some pictures here. So if we click into the pictures, okay, angels, here we go. If you've never been here at Christmas time, it is beautiful, the tree and the angels and everything. So can we skim this, which means look at it really, really quickly to get like the general meaning, to get the correct answer? No, we can't do that. Can we scan to find the location? No, we've already done that. We need to look at it in more detail. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 if you look down there. So the answer to the question is 12. So we were using many different skills to help us locate the correct area that we were going to understand generally where we were when we were skimming, and then to look in detail, close reading, to understand exactly what the correct answer was. And that's exactly what you're going to do on test day. You're going to be using different skills in order to help you understand what is going on, locate the location of the correct answer, and then to understand exactly what you're doing. That example, my students normally like it because it kind of takes them out of the IELTS test. Normally when you've been studying IELTS for a long time, you're just like, oh, another IELTS test, another reading test, another, and so it's just kind of normalizing the situation for you and helping you understand that these are skills that you already use in your native language. Let me show you another example. Newspapers are very, very good. I've covered this one up on purpose. So newspapers are a very good example of when you use skimming, scanning, and close reading. So imagine I want to find a movie review. So let's say my little boy wants to go see the latest Disney movie, which is Mary Poppins. At this moment, Mary Poppins is in the cinema. So being a selfish dad, I want to know, like, is it any good? Because I don't want to go and see a movie if it's not good. So let's use those skills again to help us find it. So again, if I wanted to find out the movie review, would I read every single story here on the front page? No. What I would do is I would open the newspaper and I would scan very quickly for some keywords, which would be Mary Poppins and a review or some kind of synonym of the word review. And I would come across this. So here is the title, Mary Poppins Returns Review. So I found it by scanning. Okay. So now I need to understand, is it any good? So let's have a look at the title. A truck full of sugar can't make this uplift go down. It's unsure. All right, might be good, might be bad. Unsure from the title. We need to look at it in a little bit more detail. So what skills could we use? Let's say I'm in a rush. I need to find the correct answer quickly. What skills could we use to help us understand this? So let's try skimming. Skimming means that we are reading the text quickly. It doesn't mean reading the first line and the last line. That's not what skimming means. It means reading it all pretty quickly to understand the general meaning. So let's try that. So let's have a look and read this. And in the comments below, just by skimming, tell me if you think that it's positive or negative. Okay, so reading it pretty quickly, I'm still not 100% sure. Remember that my little boy wants to go see it. I don't want to waste my time, so I need to know 100% the answer to this question. Is it any good? So another skill that we could use would be scanning. What would we scan for? Well, we'd scan for positive adjectives or negative adjectives. Like if it says good, it's probably good. If it says bad, it's probably bad. But we'd need to be aware of all the different synonyms and the different vocabulary that might be used. So let's try that. Okay, so here we are. Largely charmless. Might have created something memorable. Okay, so does this help us understand the correct answer? No, because we just found the location. So here, if we change colors, so here is the sentence where we've located some adjectives. They seem to be negative adjectives, but if we just did this, just looked for negative adjectives, we don't know 100% sure whether they're talking about the movie or they could be talking about the original movie made in the 60s. Like, we don't know. So we need to use a different skill, which is close reading. So let's look at this in more detail. Let's read this sentence properly and think about it deeply. Suddenly it becomes clear that the people who made this largely charmless venture, charmless means that there's no charm to it, with its hard-smiling nanny, might have created something memorable, even good and hummable, if they had turned it over to Miranda. So when we're looking at this in detail, it becomes quite clear, even without looking at the rest of the review, that they don't think it is very good. All right, it's not going to be a positive review. So you can see that the different skills that we used there to help us find the correct answer. Again, you're going to be using these in the test, but it's not as simple as skimming, scanning, close reading. You need to understand what those are, and more importantly, how and when to use them, and how to practice them, how to get better at them, because they are skills, just like any other skills. So not only are we going to be looking at these ones which we mentioned, two that are really misunderstood or not talked about enough are these two. Understanding the question. You could argue that this isn't a skill, but I'm including this here because it is so important. And deciding the answer, drawing a conclusion. So let's take one at a time. Understanding the question. If you don't understand the question, you will not be able to find the answer. All right, it's as simple as that. If you don't understand the question, you won't be able to find the answer. What a lot of students do is they immediately go in, skim the text, scan the text, look for the answer, but don't really pay enough attention to the different options. It is a reading test. You should be spending most of your time reading, but this is a skill in itself. Also, you need to be aware of synonyms. So it might talk about the movie in the questions, but in the text it talks about a film. Movie, film, they are, or a picture. They are, pictures like an old-fashioned word for a movie or a film, but they're all synonyms of each other. So by looking at the question and thinking about which synonyms might be coming up, then it's going to help you with especially scanning. Skimming, we've already talked about that. Reading quickly to understand the general meaning. You're going to use this for some types of questions, other types of questions you're not. We'll look at that in a little bit more detail. Scanning is just a tool to help you find the location. It's not a tool to help you find the correct answer. What you should use is scanning to help you find the location, and then close reading, looking at things in detail, and that is going to help you decide the answer. And I would separate these out. This is more reading and thinking deeply about what the text says. Then you need to decide the answer and come to a conclusion. It's kind of a separate thought process. It's going to happen very, very quickly, one after the other, but really separating them out and this drawing a conclusion, deciding the answer is key, I think. So you're going to have to be aware of what these are, but more importantly, when to use them and how to practice them. So let's look at what most students do. What most students do, skim, scan, find the answer. So you're missing out understanding the question. You're missing out synonyms, so two words that mean the same thing. And you're also missing out finding the actual answer and drawing a conclusion. So be aware of how these act, and be aware that they're not linear, okay? It's not like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You always start here and then here and then here and then here and then here. It's not like that. Sometimes you might not skim at all. Sometimes you might not scan at all. Sometimes you might use scanning first and then skimming after that. Sometimes you might flip between the two. So thinking about it in a very, very simplistic, overly simplistic way is going to lead to a lot of trouble. Let me show you an example of two questions. So here we have two very common IELTS reading questions. One is matching headings, and the other one is true, false, not given. So for matching headings, you're starting off by skimming the text, all right? So one of the skills that they are testing with matching headings is, can you quickly understand the general meaning of the paragraphs? That's what they're principally testing. So you're going to be using that first and foremost. Then you're going to be answering the questions. So you're not really looking at the questions at all until you skim the text first. So if you did it the other way around, it's going to be less efficient and it could cause some confusion. Then you're going to use close reading, and then you're going to decide the answer. No scanning. True, false, not given, on the other hand, is the other way around. So you're going to be understanding the question and then scanning, not skimming at all, close reading, and deciding the answer. So you can see the difference between these two questions, and this is one of the reasons why you will hear a lot of people complaining about these questions and say, like, I hate matching headings and I hate true, false, not given. Most of the students that I work with, when they say that, I say, well, what's your strategy for each of the questions? What they'll normally say in return, they will say, what do you mean there's a different strategy? Is it not the same? Is it not just skim, scan, find the answer? Like, no, they're two different questions. They are testing different skills and testing different things. They have been constructed in different ways. Therefore, you need a different strategy. And this is a very simplified version of the strategies that I share with my VIP students. This is not the complete strategy yet. So what we're going to look at now is how to improve these. So these are skills, just like archery or basketball or football or whatever you want to do. Every skill requires you to learn how to do it and then to practice it. If you don't practice it, what happens? If you don't practice anything, like driving a car or riding a bike, they say you never forget how to ride a bike, but it would be a very good idea if you are a keen cyclist to cycle regularly to keep up that skill. And some skills are perishable and some skills are not so perishable. But a perishable skill, something like shooting or archery, means that if you don't do it for a long time, or your skill diminishes very, very quickly. Exactly the same with these. So it's not only important that you practice these regularly, you have to practice them at all. Like, a lot of people just don't practice them at all. And if you are able to do these effectively on test day, you're going to get everything done much more efficiently and quicker, and you're going to be able to find the correct answers more effectively. So if you want to improve your scores, basically, learn these. So what I'm going to do is give you some exercises for the three main skills. So, and most of these are best to do with a partner, but if you don't have a partner, you can adapt them and do them by yourself. So, improving scanning exercise. Number one, find an article. Could be a newspaper article, could be an academic article. You can find something online. It doesn't matter as long as it's in English. That's the only thing you need. Identify some important words. So underline some words that you think are crucial to understanding this text. Number three, change some of those words to synonyms. Okay, so what you're going to do is take those important words and change them to synonyms. So you could write these out on little individual pieces of paper if you were doing this with a partner. Then what you would do is you would swap them with a partner, and their job is to match the synonyms with the word that you underlined in the text. So you would obviously delete the underlined so it wouldn't be too easy for your partner. You could do this on your own by creating this and then leaving it, using it as a review game after a week or a month to help you with that. But if you do it with a partner, it will really, really help. So that's just like a really simple game. It's not the only game that you can use to help you improve scanning. If you're on your own, what you can do is, let's say you can try and find some specific information in a newspaper really, really quickly, like cinema times or stock prices or, what's going on in politics that day or the scores of a cricket match or a football match. Like, just try and find that really, really quickly, and that will help you with your scanning. Moving on to skimming. Number one, find an article, exactly the same as before. And number two, create a title for each paragraph. So let's say you find a newspaper article and it has 8 paragraphs. What you're going to do is you're going to look at the paragraph, skim it, read it quite quickly, and then create your own title. So again, if you're doing this with a partner, write it down on a little piece of paper and have them for your partner. And then what you would do is your partner would be doing the same thing, and then you swap. So you have your partner's article on all these little pieces of paper with their titles on them for each paragraph. What you would do is you would try and match it with, and the person who gets the most within a time limit, because remember it's skimming, so you're going to do it on the clock, so you could do it in 1 minute or 2 minutes, whatever you need to do, and that's going to force you to skim your partner's text very, very quickly and try and match them up. Again, you could do this by yourself by creating your own titles and then leaving them and using them to review, or you could do this yourself by, if you have a newspaper, every single paragraph that you see, read it quite quickly, like 20 seconds, 10 seconds, time yourself, try and get faster, and create your own title for each one. And that will really, really help you. Improving close reading, again, find an article and do this with a partner. Write one comprehension question. A comprehension question means something that you're going to ask someone and the answer will demonstrate that they understand the meaning, the general meaning of the paragraph or something specific within that paragraph. Basically, you're forcing the person, or forcing yourself if you're doing this by yourself, to look at it in detail. You can't skim it, you can't scan it, you have to really think about it and read every single word and really think about the meaning and what's going on in that paragraph. And again, just swap with a partner, set a time limit.